So remote ID has been the biggest topic going around on the internet right now. Whether it's in the news or on YouTube, everybody's talking about this new FAA proposal for remote ID. But DJI just spoke out about it. And if you haven't read it or heard anything about it yet, stick around and I'll tell you what they had to say. Hey everybody, this is Charles Black Draco Ariel. So, we've all been hearing all the talk going around, whether it's in comments, in the news, here on YouTube, all the different videos talking about remote ID that the FAA is proposing to make all drone pilots, whether you're recreational or commercial, abide by. Now, a lot of you talk about this is going to be the death of the RC community. This is going to be the death of recreational drones. We don't know where it's going to go yet. But DJI had a lot to say about it. So Tuesday, Vice President of Policy and Legal Affairs for DJI put out an article on DJI's website just to let the public know how DJI felt about this entire new proposal that's out. So I'm going to read a little bit of this to you, just so you know, because not everybody wants to go read the article. But if you do, it's right there on top of the link is right on the top of the description below. So you can go read the full article from DJI. If you don't want to read it, I'm going to go over some of it right now with you. Okay, so this all came out Tuesday. So basically, says right here, Tuesday, DJI's Vice President of Policy and Legal Affairs posted an article in which he states that DJI strongly supports drone remote ID, but not like this. I actually said that. He supports remote ID, but he doesn't like the way it's being put out. Okay. So DJI wants governments to require remote ID for drones. All right, so here's exactly what he said. DJI wants governments to require remote ID for drones. But the FAA has proposed a complex, expansive, and intrusive system that would make it harder to use drones in America. And that jeopardizes the success of remote ID initiative. Instead, we support a simpler, easier, and free version of remote ID that does not need cellular connection or a service subscription. Right off the bat. They're just not standing behind this whole subscription service that we as drone operators have to pay an extra fee in order to fly our drones. He goes on to explain that the FAA's deeply flawed NPRM. Now, if you don't know what an NPRM is, it is a Notice of Proposed Rulemaking, just in case you didn't know. Puts the future of drone initiatives in the U.S. at risk and makes a connection to license plates that are required on cars. So he's trying to compare drones to vehicles and their license plates. He does explain this, though, because at first that had me a little lost. All right, so everyone understands why cars need license plates. Drivers have to be accountable. But what if instead of just a license plate, your car was also legally required to be connected via the internet to a privately run car tracking service that charged you an annual fee of about 20% of your car's value? I have to say, my cars would be parked. And they store 6 months of your driving data for government scrutiny. Would you think the government had gone too far? That's exactly what he said. Having vehicles being tracked by third-party companies so the government can review your driving habits. Yeah, that would go too far. DJI has long been a proponent for remote ID for drones. And the Vice President participated in the FAA's Remote ID Aviation Rulemaking Committee that ultimately recommended for drones flying under the existing FAA rules to perform remote ID via radio broadcast with network solutions and optional alternatives. If you get in and you really read all this, DJI, they support the remote ID in an overall general sense, but they do not support what the FAA has put together. Like I said, I have put the full article in the link below. Go down to the description. First link, it's going to take you right to what the Vice President of DJI had to say. Well, Vice President of Policy and Legal Affairs. This is exactly what he had to say about it. He's actually warning against the FAA's deeply flawed NPRM, saying the FAA proposal has prompted an extensive negative response from the drone community, and he's right. If you go and look at all the comments that are being made on this proposal, I haven't seen anything really positive. In fact, I can't think of one I've seen that really supports it. So rather than fostering a culture of compliance, this proposal risks creating a culture of circumvention that could doom the entire remote ID endeavor. Are there going to be a lot of rogue pilots not connecting, bypassing stuff? I can see that honestly happening. I can see a lot more trying to go to the smaller drones that don't have to be registered. But like one of the comments in one of the other videos, swipe of a pen, throw it before Congress, and now we got a law that it doesn't matter how tiny the drone is, it's got to be registered. FAA can change this up constantly. So he goes on to talk more about the FAA has disregarded advice from 74 stakeholders who devoted their summer to the cause for this remote ID. And he questions who is behind the more complex regulations, stating, whatever the reason behind the startling departure from the reasonable remote ID rule, the FAA should be transparent with the public about them so that thousands of people who will submit official comments can truly be informed. You know, so to me, this sounds like there's a lot more going on behind closed doors. This new proposal, are there bigger hands in the pot? Is it all about making us pay extra each month? Is it more about a third party lobbying the FAA for this? A lot of questions going on now. So what are your thoughts? I know a lot of you that have commented don't like the remote ID overall, but reading this entire article, DJI apparently had proposed a very simple remote ID process that didn't require broadcasting constantly, did not require internet service and cellular service. But for some reason along the line, it kind of broke down and the FAA took it a different way. Now, at the end of the day, I've just got to follow the rules that the FAA puts out if I want to fly legally. And I'll continue to fly legally. But what are your thoughts? I'm really curious to what you think now that DJI is speaking out against this. Not the overall project, just the way it's being done. Let me know. And I'll tell you right now, as of recording this, there have been 5,582 comments made on the proposal. If you have not commented yet and voiced your opinion to the FAA, read this article from DJI, watch a few of the other videos that are out on YouTube about this, come to your own conclusion, and then go make a comment. You have until March of this year to submit your comment. I've got a link below where you can also go and make your comment. I got a link below where you can also go and read the full text of this proposal. Go read it. Go voice your opinion. And then if this does get passed by the FAA, it's not the end of it for us. We still got one more opportunity because the FAA will send this over to Congress. So when it hits Congress, you got a chance to talk to your congressmen or women. You got a chance to talk to your senators before it's voted on and sent to the president to be signed into law. So we still have a little bit of time, even if the FAA sends this proposal over. Do what you need to do. Read it. Make your comments. Leave a comment below about what you think about all this. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I will see you at the next video. Until then, keep flying safe. And I am out of here.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know